Hi dear friends, today we are going to discuss section 34 of Indian Evidence Act and its relevancy with regard to evidence. Mainly here entries in the books of account maintained by a person in his business, both in the form of normal traditional way of accounting, that is maintained in paperwork, that is books which were maintained by the businessmen in their daily business, and also in the electronic form. Nowadays we have seen that several business concerns and small shops are also maintaining their books of accounts in the form of tally and some other accounting softwares. All these accounting softwares, whatever the entries they are actually having in their either electronic form or in the books form, both the forms of entries are relevant in the evidence. But the relevancy of such entries in order to support the case of the person who is claiming such evidence before the court, whether it is that much strong or that not that much strong, that we will actually we can come to know only after reading line by line section 34. It says that any entries in books of accounts including those maintained in electronic form, this must be maintained in a regularly kept books of the person who is actually using such books only for the specific business purpose, or such entries are relevant. Otherwise, such entries will not be having importance in the court of law. When there is a question is arising before the court whether the particular fact is existed or not existed, it can be supported by mentioning, by placing such books of accounts or such entries made in the electronic form before the court of law. Now court may believe it as supporting evidence or relevant fact to support the case, but main condition here is that such single entry or only entries solely cannot become perfect evidence before the court. That means court completely cannot dependent upon that case to form adverse opinion against the other party. Why? Because here's a very simple formula. It is my books of account. When I am a business owner, if I have maintained some books of accounts, in my entries I can make anything. I can even mention a entry telling that I have supplied 10 tons of iron to X and 10 tons of steel to Y. Like this, any number of entries I can make in any number of persons. That doesn't mean that whatever entries are maintained in my books are true. It is only possible to check whether the entry is genuine or not with a corroborating evidence. That's why section 34 says that unless and until there is a corroborating evidence, such books of accounts and the entries made therein are not that much believable or trustworthy evidence before the court of law. We can properly understand this section if we read the illustration given under the section 34. It clearly says that when a person has filed a case against another person for some amount of recovery, if he has maintained in his own books of account that he has given some amount of debt to other person, obviously whatever is maintained in his books of account should also be authenticated or countersigned by the other party. Then only it can become trustworthy evidence. If other party signature is not there, then the person who has given the loan or who is claiming that he has given the loan will not be trusted unless there is any other supporting evidence is found. In this regard, several case laws we have studied. Specifically Ishwar Das versus Sohan Lal, AR 2000, Supreme Court 426. In this case, Supreme Court held that admissibility of entries in accounts books regularly kept in the ordinary course of business are only admissible through though they by themselves cannot create any liability. That means solely on the base of such books of account or entry in the books of account, we cannot create any liability on the shoulders of other person. That is why it says that solely on the base of such entry it is not possible to come to any conclusion. Second case is that Dharam Chand Joshi versus Satyanarayan Bajaj. In this case, reported in AIR 1993, Guwahati 35. Unbound sheets of paper are not books of account and cannot be relied upon. If Books of account means a properly maintained diaries which are actually specifically kept for saying that purpose, that is maintaining of the books of accounts. If a loose paper later it is bounded or binded by way of stitching the papers, then such bounded papers, later bounded papers, will not be trusted as books of accounts. That means it should be a proper book or register which is made for a specific purpose of maintaining the books of accounts. Even unbound sheets, open papers are also not acceptable as evidence in this particular section 34. That is why section 34 is very clear. It's not a sound evidence, it's not a very strong evidence, it's only one of the relevant facts. That's it. Thank you so much.